What goes up must come down. Spinning wheel, got to go round.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about your troubles, it's
Yeah, there we go. You're listening to Lone Star Internet Radio. It's time for Aperture and Shutter Speed with me, Dick Schishler, and
Tom Moore, TR More Photos. Are you getting my name wrong
No,
again?
no.
I love it when you do.
No,
It
you're-
gives me a free commercial, man. I hope you never learn my name.
I don't. trmorephotos.com. That's your name. Told you. For the rest of the February, I'm going to be calling you that. Yes, we are Dick and Tom for Dick and Tom. It's good. I like that. It's for Aperture and Shutter Speed. We're
And Jerry.
we're a show about photography and film from Montgomery County and also the world, since we're on the internet radio, and we talk about different things going on in our mind. Tom is a professional photographer, and I am an amateur photographer, so that's the what we bring to the table. We always encourage you listeners to call in 936-647-3776 to talk to us about what is going on with your photography world. Because photography is really weird about photography. Is a lot of people. It reminds me of one of those. It's the definite like the nerd. When you get them in a room together, you can really tell who's really passionate about photography. Because you know some people are like, yeah, I have a point and shoot, but then you get the certain people who will just sit there the whole party and talk about photography. And especially if you bring your camera with you, because I know other photographers, when you go to like events and sporting events, you know, all the photographers are sitting there just talking shop to one another about what, you know, I got this new Canon 300 millimeters. You hear about the newest type of lens they got. It's made from rhino horns, or you know, something exotic. But you know what I'm talking about? You ever been there? Because I always enjoy those conversations more than like, oh, did you see the Texans play football? I'm like, no, man, no. But if they saw him, yeah, did you see the photographer guy shooting the Texans? Yeah, I saw that guy.
Did you see the 300 cameras?
Well, always, actually, those are my favorite highlights in sports, when you see the people get run over,
Right.
like the photographer dudes just get nailed, and you know, because they're focusing on something else, and boom.
Especially the poor guys with those shoulder mount video cameras, so they just get hammered.
Yeah, that's really funny. But yes, you're welcome to Aperture and Shutter Speed. Today's show, we're covering a couple things. We're still doing our scenarios, focusing on weddings. And if you missed the announcement for it, here's what today's scenario is. The bride is verbally attacking the wedding planner and the caterer and pretty much everyone that's there that they paid. So, and you're next. You're the photographer, so she's got to yell at you, right? Because you're always doing something wrong. What can you do to stay out of the line of fire? So that's going to be our scenario segment coming up after the intro segment for right now. And then we're going to go into something I wouldn't mind talking about, or kind of, I would call it the step ladder to technology when you're purchasing an equipment, because there's always like, oh, there's 15 better versions of the product you're buying, and the example I'm going to be using is the GoPro, because here at Lone Star we've recently been using GoPros, and we have two different versions. So, and I learned how significant those two versions are, and you always have to apply that to the price, because at most times you're kind of skeptical, like, oh, why am I paying an extra $150 for it looks like the same thing, but until you use it, until you read about it, you really understand why they're charging $150.
What is the difference there?
Well, that's what we're going to be talking about later in Aperture and Shutter Speed. Yeah, we're here every Wednesday at 3 p.m. There we go. I got you now. Talk to me.
1, 2,
Yeah, see, now
3.
I got you. Yeah, I can only hear you on my right ear.
Uh-oh.
It's bugging me. But yes, so Tom is going to bring the professional side to. Hey, we got some photographers outside. Hey, ladies. What kind of camera is that? Show me the cameras. What do you got packing? Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
They can hear you, right?
Yeah, they can hear me.
There you go.
Those are beautiful cameras, ladies, and so are y'all. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna be talking about today. We enjoyed our last show with Ansel. Ansel is an interesting guy. If you haven't been able to check out his photography, go to Facebook. Look up Ansel. Believe it's Ansel Photography. I want to look it up. So Tom, you hold off the listeners until I find this.
He
Facebook.
looks like a photographer, doesn't he? He's got the
He
wild hair.
He looks like.
He looked like Bob Dylan in the flesh, man. He was a hip dude. And he's real mellow. I really liked his personality.
Ansel Arnold Photography. Look
Right.
that up. And he actually posts some really cool stuff. And he has that Hasselblad camera.
Mm-hmm,
So I'm interested. I want him to shoot me personally, which would be great. Maybe, I mean, what but yeah.
You
So,
need to get those girls to shoot you, man.
yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
two
I'm
of
kind of
them.
nervous. The blinds are down, so I can't really see what they're doing. They're always doing something.
Probably going to do a documentary on you.
Yeah, sure.
You're to be so famous.
But yeah, so we've been covering weddings this month for February, of course, because of, you know, people get engaged, people get married for some reason in February. But so that's been our scenarios, and let's see. And then we're gonna talk about GoPros, which is gonna be cool. We have a good lineup today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to talk about right now before we get into our segments?
Well, I mean, there are good things that happen in weddings, and I know a lot of the things that I brought up are negative, but you do need to be mindful of the fact that you can get yourself in a lot of trouble, and to be cautious if you're going to commit to doing a wedding, and know that there are traps out there that you can fall into, and just be smart about what you commit to. And that's why they're so expensive, is because they are very stressful, and you're doing every aspect of photography when you do a wedding.
Oh, yeah.
And you work your hiney off. And
Yeah.
4 hours, you can barely get it all covered in 4 hours.
Always have a granola bar in the pocket when
Right.
you're shooting a wedding.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And something to just stay cool. You know, if someone comes up to you and they're throwing you off your game, because what happens with me, you know, I'm not the most technical person, and I try to think through the scenario, every aspect of a wedding, and when someone comes up and starts just freaking out, it just throws me off my game, and technically I'm going, well, why isn't my camera working right? What? It's not the camera. The camera is still working. It's you. The operator is off your, off track, and just need to just not get engaged with them so much and say, okay, thank you, I appreciate it, and try to get away from them and get back into focus mentally, and back into what you need to do.
Hey, I agree with that totally, just because there's so many distractions, and you're always trying to get those certain. And I saw your checklist. If you haven't seen Tom's checklist when he does a wedding, it's kind of ridiculous. Because I'm a free floater. He's got to make sure he gets those shots, and that's pretty important. I mean, I guess that's important. That's why you're a professional.
There's hundreds of possibilities. You know, kids start screaming or start crying, or it's just noisy, and
We'll get into that more later. Yeah. Did you shoot anything good this week?
Well, I've got 3 new jobs that look like very promising,
cool.
So I'm very excited about
film or photography.
Both.
Oh, cool.
Both.
Those are always nice.
Can I say who?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't jinx it.
Well, that's true.
I wouldn't jinx it.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, actually, one thing I do want to talk about that I learned over the weekend are people who shoot photography at nightclubs. Because people do that. Like, it's a popularity thing. If you notice on Facebook, there's certain, you can actually have, like, you can go to the clubs, social media sites.
You can make a few dollars doing that.
Yeah, and
$50 or something.
And I always find that interesting, because I went to a place that had that, and I was kind of nervous about it. Even as a photographer, I was like, man, some dude's gonna freak.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, I'm with my girlfriend and I'm married.
Well, and what it is the guy tells me it's the paparazzi mentality these girls like, because they like reading People magazine, and they're like, oh, they makes them feel like they're being taken pictures of. And I was like, it's really weird that this is a good thing. And at least it's a paying job, and then they upload all the photos, and you can actually see yourself acting silly on. Well, one of the local places that does it is Big Texas. You ever heard of that place? It's near here. I'm pulling it up right now on Facebook. Big Texas in Spring. It's over by Hallsworth Road. You know where that is?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they literally, and they even have an emblem on all the photos, little watermarks, and it's everybody having a good time. Which to me, it's smart marketing. It's showing that, hey, these people who come here, they have a good time. And it's always convenient that they're very cute and attractive, right? There's
Makes a difference.
Yeah. Can you imagine being that photographer? It's like, no, your friend's gotta,
right.
you gotta
get
out of
step
here.
back.
You have to step back. No, I'm kidding. They don't do that to them. But that's another area of photography that's becoming more popular, especially with social media. And it kind of goes on to that little conspiracy theory I have, what the internet's doing to journalism, because no one really wants a professional photographer anymore.
Boo.
They don't. Like, they'd rather use Twitter or take a picture with your phone, and that's how they use it.
Yeah, but it's going to turn around.
But there's
people are going to want quality again.
Yeah, sure.
I think.
Sure, Tom. You can just keep telling us yourself that.
Well, we're just going to raise the quality to such a high level that people have to buy it.
But one thing I do want to touch on, because that was interesting to me to run into that, because I never really been a part of that scene before. It was new to me, the club thing, and then I saw that, and that was interesting to me because he was like getting up in people's faces and taking pictures, and of course they liked it. And some people, I just know some person's gonna freak and say, "Hey, what are you doing with my girlfriend?"
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. I always enjoy those kind of people. But that I just never thought. He's like, "Oh yeah, here's my card. You can find them. You know, you can go purchase."
Let me photograph you, and then you can punch me in the nose.
Well, it's kind of like when you go to the Renaissance Festival, and they always have like the 6 cameramen who are wearing jester uniforms right outside, and they take a picture, and then it's like, go to this website and look at your picture, and you can purchase it for like $8.
Yeah, I've got a client that works with the Renaissance Festival that
Really?
I'm going to be shooting a video for. I just spoke with him. I'm not going to say who.
You're over here jinxing yourself all the time, but
But
I
I didn't say the name.
I know. Yeah,
I
I think you're making it up. But no, we got a great show lined up. I think it's 3:11 right now. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna go with our fourth segment, our fourth scenario. Sorry, I gotta get all this out before we go out to the break. But yeah, no, our fourth scenario, which is the bride is verbally attacking the wedding planner and caterer and everyone else, and you're next. What can you do to stay out of the line of fire? And I mean, you just show them pretty pictures, I guess. Tom, is that right? Is that what you need to do?
I didn't think of that.
No, it's like, hey, look, check out these pretty pictures I'm taking of you guys.
I get such
Right?
panic.
Yeah. We'll be right back on Aperture and Shutter Speed on Lone Star Internet Radio.
That are real.
Hey y'all, grab your boots and hats on February 22nd. It's time for the 49th annual Go Texan Parade at 1 p.m. in downtown Conroe. This year's parade theme, Salute to Our Scholars, will feature entries from local schools, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and political candidates. So join us at 1 p.m. in downtown Conroe on February 22nd for the 49th annual Go Texan Parade.
Hi, I'm Joyce with the Corner Pub in downtown Conroe. We're located at the corner of Simonton and North Main, just across the street from the courthouse. The week starts off Monday with open mic hosted by Alan, and Tuesday nights open mic hosted by Jeremy Bankhead. And on Thursday evening, McFarland Jams. There's nightly drink specials available every night, all night. And don't forget, live entertainment every weekend. To see a full list of events, visit our website at thecornerpubinconroe.com. So come join us at the Corner Pub, where the deli is open late.
Someone is waiting.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed on Lone Star Internet Radio. Welcome back. It's me, Dick, and
Tom Moore, TR More Photos.
right now what we've been doing this month for February, we've been getting ourselves scenarios, and you can feel free to call in with your ideas. This last one's a little talking about People Magazine. This is just high emotional energy going during a wedding. Everyone's kind of on a different path, I would say. And you can call in 936-647-3776 or visit our Facebook page, Aperture and Shutter Speed, on Facebook. Yeah, you can tell us what you think.
I don't know why it is, but when a wedding is underway, you get these cousins coming out of the wall that want to tell everybody what to do and how to do it.
Oh, this is my favorite people.
And you don't even know, who are you? What are you doing? And they just think that they can take authority over the situation and they can start telling you what to do. And that's another issue. But
Yeah.
we're going to talk about
The bride.
The bride.
The bride. Well, I mean, I think it can also extend to those people and personal
Oh,
experiences.
absolutely.
Because, I mean, I know some people just don't like their picture being taken, or, you know, they want to rule what's going on. So I think we're going to start with me, because I think this really happened to you, Tom, right?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to read it one more time. The bride is verbally attacking the wedding planner and the caterer and everyone else, and you're next. So what should you do to stay? We're trying to stay out of the line of fire. What's really nice, I would say, about being the photographer is you always look like you're doing something, and I definitely use that as a ploy when I don't want to talk to people, because you always have your camera ready, and you're like, oh, I'm just trying to get a shot. Sorry, boop, and you run off.
Exactly. You can just look at the camera and walk over in the corner and say, sorry, I can't talk right now.
Yeah, like you're working, or you can put your eye through the viewfinder and just kind of keep walking. No one ever walks and takes photos unless you're pretty dangerous, living on the edge if you're doing that. But I've done it before, I guess. But no, that's probably my first tactic would be, no, I'm busy. I can't really deal with this right now. Or one thing that shuts people up is you start taking pictures of them. I know I've done that when people get mad at me, and I'm like, what? You can get mad? All right, calm down. And then they calm down. But then they get, later on, they get real upset about it because you show them the photos. But I wouldn't use that. Yeah, I wouldn't use that on the bride. I wouldn't use that technique. But I think the first thing I would do is, keep doing your job. I wouldn't worry about it. If you can be somewhere else taking photos, if this isn't like a primary shot, then don't be a part of it. Go somewhere else. Because you can always be shooting other things that are just trying to fill up your time. Because I know kids, those are the easiest shots to fill in times with because they're always doing something stupid at weddings. They're always touching, the string that holds the tent down. Or I think my favorite one was pushing over candles because, there's kids are playing with candles and so I'm like, someone's going to start a fire, but no one cares. So I'm going to get pictures of it. Yeah,
I've seen them knock over the big candle holders. Yeah. They're on a stand and they're real tall and they knock them over, so it's all in fun.
Well, yeah, so that's exactly what I would do. Number one, look like, stay busy. You're getting paid to do a job. And, sometimes, especially in this wedding environment, someone's going to be doing something wrong at all times. The kids are being disruptive, the aunt's getting drunk, the food's not that good, or, that something's always, there's never a perfect wedding. And typically,
chaos.
Typically, you're lucky you're the photographer because you're really never in the wrong, unless you're just wearing something inappropriate. I mean, something that's just outlandish and obvious to everyone else, or if you're rude. I mean, I don't know why I never really met a rude photographer. But
photographers have great hearts. They're just good people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They should be sanctionized.
Yeah, there you go, Tom. Come on, trmorephotos.com. But no, see, I think that would be my first thing, would just get out of the way. You're doing a job and you're getting paid, and if it's something that I would try to take a picture of it just because it's funny. And I like those kind of pictures to reminisce on. Like, look at this bride.
That just gave me a very good idea. When someone comes up to you and they're just ragging on the photographer, just start taking their photograph and maybe even video them. Say, by the way, I have this thing turned up as high as it'll go, and I'm documenting everything you're saying. Now, what was your name? And speak clearly.
No, I mean, but yeah, that's what I would do. I'm trying to think of anything else that would be civil. I mean, that's exactly what I did. Stay out of the line of fire. Just go away. Go shoot something else.
That's the best way, because it's gonna, if they're looking to start something, then that'll give them ammunition. If you do anything that's in any way off colored or say anything that will give them rise to start into something, and so they can run like a child to the
daddy
planner or whoever they can and say, well, the photographer said I'd never use him, who is that for, and that kind of nonsense. So it's just best to just say, oh, yes sir, and what was your name, and who's are you a friend of the bride or the groom, or and just, okay, yes sir, I know I did, it was terrible of me, and always take the blame, always be the one in the wrong. It's always your fault. Of course you're right, you're correct, and I'm wrong.
As a photographer at weddings, you're always, probably one of the most important things that a lot of people don't realize is you're trying to develop their reputation, so where you plant the seed for future weddings at people who come to weddings, because wedding photographers is probably the number one referral business when it comes down to it, because it's like, hey, who'd you use, because you got married one time, and it's usually like, oh, I have a cousin, or that we had this really great guy named Barry, or I had this really crappy guy, had a horrible attitude,
stay away from
took photos of me while I was yelling at him, and all this really negative stuff. So if you're shooting a wedding, it's an important thing to keep in the back of your mind, is these are potential clients if you're doing it professionally. And it's always be socializing with them. Be nice. You're there setting an example of giving them an idea of what their wedding experience would be if you were part of it.
Haven't you had experience with a photographer that was real haughty and snotty and kind of got all over you one time when you?
Yeah, but I mean, if someone gives me an explanation, then I'm okay with it. And she gave me an explanation. She's like, hey, your flash is bothering when I take photos. Some of my photos are becoming unbalanced. And I was like, oh, I was just taking photos. I was just
just
I
having fun.
like having a flash. I
Right.
haven't used a flash that often,
Right.
so I was like, I'm just trying.
Don't take
out.
it personal.
Yeah, and so I was like, I go, can I take photos or do I just need to put it away? And she you don't give people options when you say that. You should have just said I'm sorry, and then I should have just walked off and kept taking photos. But yeah, she's like, you need to put it away. I was like, dang.
But at least you walked away and you didn't just stay right under her heels. Yeah. And every time she'd turn around, you were right there almost bumping into you. I mean, I've had that. I mean, they're just like, are you my shadow? Would you please back off? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, it was the most interesting thing about it, too, is, when you're at weddings, there's going to be at least 20 people holding up their cell phones, filming it. There's some grandma taking photos, flashes going off everywhere. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there going so I'm the one person who can't be taking photos because I just have a bigger camera.
She might have thought you were a professional and that you're,
people get territorial.
Getting into her cloud, you know, get out of my soup,
And what's interesting about your perspective, because you do film and photography. So it's almost like you got to make a balance between the two instead of most people just hate the videographer, they're the photographer and this guy's always in the way and vice versa. Because that happened to me. Photographers always get in the way when you're trying to get a shot. And I even made those jokes to people when I give them the tape. I'm like, hey, thanks for letting me shoot the photographer and while, at your wedding, because that's really what the footage is all about. Because some photographers are really personal when they get in it. And they're always, I told you that, right? Right when the kiss was was happening.
No, I don't.
I had this perfect shot down the line of the aisle, really
cool.
beautiful, and I was like, "Oh, this kiss is gonna be like the best kiss." And right when they went into, the photographer slips right in front of frame, and I didn't see you can't even see their faces because her arms are up and the camera's up, and I just go, "This is perfect." I mean, I was real upset about that, but
well, that's a different perspective. I mean, you're actually photographing the photographer while the photographer's doing his job, so that's kind of neat. I mean, if you want to look at it in that way.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't shooting a wedding. I was doing a photographer's experience reel or whatever.
Right.
She'll get everywhere.
Right.
But no, see, that's what I would do. What happened to you? What did you do for this scenario?
Oh, well, I did pretty much what you said. You're reading my mind, or maybe we discussed this one day.
No, that's the only logical thing to do.
It is a logical thing to do. It's just stay busy. I mean, this gal comes out in a towel. Now, I'm not going to say anything else, but I mean, she comes out in a towel just railing against people. She comes out of her dressing room. I was like, wow, I mean, what is going on? And I was, at the time, I had these two kids on the stairs, beautiful home, and had double stairway, double entrance. And I just kept photographing, and she looked at me, and I thought, well, she's coming at me now. And I just kind of walked away and did just that, and she just kind of faded into the woodwork. And then after the wedding, they both jumped in the pool with their clothes on, and it was all forgotten. But at the moment, in the heat of the moment,
yeah, like you said, it's during those deals, it's way too emotional.
Yeah, and there's where you got to go, okay, you're not yourself right now. You're out of your mind. You're going crazy. So when it's over, you'll get yourself back together and you'll be like you were yesterday when we were talking. And, you're cool and we'll be all right.
Well, cool. All right. That's a pretty neat scenario, I guess. I mean, it's just get out of the way. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Take photos.
Yeah. It's just logical.
Okay.
People are being people, dealing with people's emotions.
If you guys want to share your experiences with people, like especially at weddings, those are always good stories as a photographer. You always have a good time. 936-647-3776. You can find that phone number at the top right of the screen. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about GoPros. And then we can talk about really anything else connecting to film and see how it all works. GoPros are really interesting here at Lone Star because we use them to film our shows. If you check out Aperture and Shutter Speed on YouTube, that's what we're filming this show with. And there's a lot of technical details going into these little devices. They're changing everything. I mean, you always see those cool videos of people snow skiing down this huge remote mountain, and they got this camera attached to their toe of the snow ski, and you're just kind of like, man, that looks like something I could do. Then when people try to, I always like watching those videos on YouTube, people trying to do it, and they wipe out, of course. But we will be back after these short messages. You're listening to the Lone Star Internet Radio, Aperture, and Shutter Speed.
Hey, can you see him, baby?
The East Texas Dream Center is in need of your help. We are a nonprofit Christian organization that houses women and children who are trying to get their lives back after being homeless, abused, or addicted. We are conveniently located at 301 South 1st Street, Conroe, Texas, 77301, right here in Montgomery County. Our needs are financial and every needs of gasoline, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, Lysol, and whatever else God puts in your heart. To help our ladies and children, please consider a donation. You may visit our website at www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Again, so you don't forget, it's www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Donations are tax deductible. Remember what Jesus said, with God, nothing is impossible.
The Conroe Art League is a nonprofit entity promoting the visual arts in Montgomery County. They've evolved over the last 49 years into one of the premier artist groups in the greater Houston area. The Conroe Art League is now permanently housed in the 100-year-old recently remodeled Madeley building in historic downtown Conroe. Exhibits of local artists, sculptors, and painters are changed periodically in the downstairs gallery with admission free to the public. Art classes and demonstrations in a variety of media are provided in the upstairs studios. The mission of the Conroe Art League is to encourage artistic development and cultivate an appreciation of the visual arts through education, exhibitions, and community outreach. For more information, call area code 936-756-9572 or visit their website at www.conroeartleague.com.
is waiting just for you. Spinning wheel, spinning true. Drop all your troubles by the riverside.
Take us in.
Catch a painted pony on the
Hey,
spin
Tom, you're supposed to take
wheel.
us in. Not doing it today, huh, Tom? No, you're not. You're on right now.
You're the guy.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. We're our Montgomery County's photography and film radio show on Lone Star Internet Radio. We're both enthusiasts. Tom, trmorephotos.com, and I'm Dick. I'm the amateur. trmorephotos.com is the professional, as you can tell by his name. Always looking for business at trmorephotos.com. Have I got it right so far? Am I doing okay?
I'm disappointed you got it right.
Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing it. But now it's our third segment. We just concluded our second segment for our scenarios. We're talking about wedding photography, so that's kind of our focus this month. And you know what I want to do? I want to get people is if you ever taken a funny photo at a wedding, send it, post it to our Facebook at Aperture and Shutter Speed. Because I have some photos. I'll post some photos, some funny photos, and I think it'd be good. And if Tom wants to do that, or trmorephotos.com wants to do that, he can do that. Because well, I mean, we got to talk to his boss because he has to get the licensing for him and stuff. But for our third segment, we're going to be talking about GoPros because I've been using them for a while, and I learned some interesting thing about the industry, and it's growing. It's growing really big to the point where right now they have 3 versions of a GoPro. And all GoPros, if you don't know what a GoPro is, it is a little tiny video camera that is about as big, I would say.
As the palm of your hand.
Well, it literally does fit in the palm of your hand. I'm trying to think, what does this look like? A little block. Like I think if you get 3 pieces of Lego.
It looks like a hockey puck.
Yeah, a little smaller than a hockey puck. And it can, it's very versatile. And I think what they're trying to sell it as is they try to sell this camera as like an adventure sport camera where they make so many different types of mounts for this thing. You can put it on handlebars. You can put it on your jet ski. They have waterproof versions. Mm-hmm. And then they have so many different types of versions. And when we were looking at a solution to film our shows, an inexpensive solution because the Lone Star Studios is located in downtown Conroe in a tight space next to the Crichton Theater. And I really didn't want to have to use like an XL2, which I have, or a bigger camera because that takes up a lot of space. And when you have a lot more guests in besides just you and I for other shows, and especially like when Ansel was here, you gotta be versatile and adaptive. And this camera allows a lot of that. So if you're a professional film guy, what these cameras are really used for are for like the action shots. Like say you're doing a car chase scene, these things can mount to anything. I've seen them clipped under the rims of cars. You know, they have suction cups. I've used them for our window scenes for our plays, our radio plays, so we can get a wider angle. I stick it on the window so you can get a unique shot that way. Actually, to give you a good idea, how to use these cameras, go to, I believe it's driving in cars and get with comedians and getting coffee. That's not what it is. It's Jerry Seinfeld's New Deal. I'm gonna look that up real quick. It's like, but all they use is GoPros, and you can see them all around the cars because he drives these like out of control 1930s to all the way to 2010 versions of sports cars, little sedans, all sorts of types of stuff. And they put those GoPros on probably $100,000 cars because they got to mount them up inside. And
this is Seinfeld doing this?
Yeah, this is his new little they're called Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. That's what it's called. It's based off a UK deal that a guy did, driving with celebrities and getting coffee. And I forgot who was the star of that one. But yeah, so he chooses a car that he thinks fits the profile of the comedian. And typically it's like, he's done like Larry David, Ricky Gervais. I mean, he's done a lot. I mean, it's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. But it's a good example of using the GoPro because it really allows you to get those shots, those extra shots that you're not in control of. I know when I first encountered a GoPro, it was about 3 years ago when I was working on site for a home improvement show. And what they would use them for is they would literally go into each room and mount them at the ceiling and point them down because they come with an ultra wide angle to get everything. And they use those for the time lapse. They would leave them up there so when they're doing all the construction work, they're out of people's way, they're battery operated, they're on any cords, and they would just leave them there. And that's when, and at the end of the day, they're like, hey, Dick, go collect all the GoPros. So I had to go, in each house, each room, there's 2 houses, and there's like, I think total there was like 9 rooms I had to go into and get all the footage from the GoPros and stuff like that. So, these little cameras are a great option if you're looking for a secondary camera. The downside, there's many downsides to these things. Probably the first obvious downside is there isn't a viewfinder. And when these first came out, there's no way to know what you're seeing. When they first came out, it's like a little hockey puck, has a lens, that's it.
It's a point and pray.
That's really what it is. But now what's really cool, like to give you an example here, I'm sitting here, a lot of people, when I look at my phone on the air, or when they see the YouTube videos, like, what is this kid? This kid's like texting people? Well, no, I'm not really texting. What it is, you can actually connect to the GoPro with your app. And you can actually see what the camera's seeing. That way you can actually set up each shot and lighting and everything. So like here we are, Tom.
And there's a little delay.
There's a little delay because it goes through Wi-Fi. There's a little Wi-Fi built into each camera, and you can really control all the features. Like if you have a more advanced GoPro, you can actually change the shutter speed. You can change the angle of the lens. You can do wide, narrow, medium. You can stop recording. You can even turn it off.
Do that by your phone.
So like what's really neat about when we were doing the plays, I would set one up really high and set one really low, and it lets you check the battery, make sure everything's working. How's it look? If everything's changed and stuff like that. Because I know sometimes when we have a lot of people in the studio, someone might have bumped it. So I'm like, oh man, let me make sure it's still all right. So if I have to go fix it, but the other negatives about these little cameras is the way they store memory. It uses a micro SD card, so it's a tiny. I'm talking big as your thumb fingernail.
Wow, that'd be easy to lose.
You can't really see this on the footage if you're watching on YouTube, but that is the memory card there.
That's the card, guys.
That it uses. And I know I've always feel nervous when I look at it. And I'm like, where's the card?
How much does that cost?
They range. They go from $20 to all the way to $200.
Wow.
Depending on how big. So like a 16 megabyte or 16 gigabyte card gives you about 2 hours of 1080p footage at 30 frames a second, which isn't too bad.
30 frames, that's good.
So that's and I also get more to detail about 30 frames because these things can do a lot of different, depending on which version you buy.
So will the high dollar one go to 60 frames a second?
Oh yes.
And what about as far as post-production?
Get this. Okay, so now you're open the Pandora's box with these things. So there's 3 versions they have. They have the white edition, the silver edition, and then the black edition. So black being the best. The black is $400. Mm-hmm. The white is $200. So the difference in those two, the lowest and the highest, is basically double the features. So you're paying double the money for double the features. And one thing that the black does that I'm interested in seeing is they can go to 4K resolution, which is the new higher than 1080p, but there's not even a TV really out there that you can watch 4K resolution on. So I haven't really understood.
Well, the eye will only perceive so many dots.
Yeah.
You know, I think.
But it still looks
300.
pretty.
Yeah.
Still looks pretty.
Yeah.
So this thing, because look at these features. So the white, which is I have a white and we have a silver. So we have a white and a silver, and the white is 5 megapixels total. And
So do you think the price difference is worth doubling?
Well, if you're a professional, I'll get to it. Hey,
I can't resist.
I can't.
It's
well,
money. It's
if you were,
money, you know?
I mean, if you're doing a professional shoot for, let's say, a helicopter company or Mercedes-Benz or something, yeah, black is the way to go, because you can get all the 60 frames. Because like the white doesn't do 60 frames a second. It just does. Let's see. Oh no, never mind. It does. It does at 1080p. It does 30 frames and 25 frames. At 960p, it does 30 and 25. At 720, it does 60 frames a second, 50 frames a
That's
second.
the white.
That's the white. That's the least expensive one. So you're looking at 720p definition, which was the most popular one probably about 8 years ago at the time. But now we're at 1080p, but it doesn't shoot. It doesn't shoot 60 frames. And if you're an amateur out there like me, I was like, what's the difference between 60 frames a second, 30 frames a second? Basically, if you imagine a reel and you're taking 60 pictures a second, and that's really for sports. Like you're moving really fast, you need a high frames per second shot, a camera or something like that. So if you see those videos like 300, for example, 300, when they shot that movie, they didn't shoot that movie in 30 frames a second.
It's all 60.
Well, they probably shot it like in 120 or something like that.
That was
Ridiculous.
an amazing.
But you know what I'm talking about, where it's real
Oh, yeah.
slow motion and all that kind
Yeah.
of good stuff. But so basically what you're getting between the white and the black is you're getting the higher resolution and the option of having a higher shutter speed for it. But just like a normal still camera, you're paying higher money, a lot more. You're paying double the money for more frames a second, more megapixels, and stuff like that. So you're trying to justify the $400 compared to the $200. For my scenario, $200 is perfect. We're not shooting football here. We're not arm wrestling or anything. We don't need the high frames a second. No, we just need 30. And it looks pretty on a 1080p TV because I've seen it before.
Okay, I'm just really want to know then about post-production.
Post-production, yes, these things are heavy in size.
Okay, so you can, if the room is too dark, like it looked like when you showed me on your phone, can you tweak that?
Oh,
and-
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bring the exposure
There's a
up.
lot of options. It shoots in the MOV format. So what's nice about that compared to higher definition cameras is like some things you'll realize, especially if you're getting into the new high def world of video cameras, they have codecs. So if you use, like, I think when Sony first came out with their 1080p cameras, they had a Sony codec. So you literally couldn't drag and drop it into some editing bay. These things allow you to drag into iMovie anything you're using immediately.
That's awesome.
And I like that a lot.
That's amazing.
The higher end video cameras don't allow that.
So you can integrate this. So if I have a $9,000, $10,000 video camera, I could actually supplement
Yeah, for
a shoot.
These are perfect B cameras or B and C. If you don't know what I mean by that, I mean it's like a secondary camera, a third camera.
So you're gonna let me use your GoPros when I do this job?
Well, no, what's really neat about these, and I'll get on to finishing the difference between the 200 to 300. Is, like I said, it's 4K resolution is the highest thing you can do in the black. It comes with the Wi-Fi capabilities. There's so many options on this thing.
So you're sure that my customer will say, "What is that little camera?" and say, "Well, it's a GoPro." So okay, and then when they see the commercial, they won't go, "That's the GoPro. I don't like
No.
that." They won't say that.
It really depends on how you use it.
Wow.
It really, like, if you're doing, you'd be surprised where they've used the GoPro in today's film world, like, and especially in movies. Because I know
Lord of the Rings.
No, I would say more like the Bourne Identity. Those when they're doing
high action.
Yeah, they're doing the high action car shots where, well, I'm talking like split second. You know when they get hit by a car and they're in the car and there's glass everywhere.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be able to perceive the difference because there's so much motion.
Yeah, it's real quick.
Right.
And, yeah, so that's where you really use those cameras. And then also if you're trying to do a unique perspective shot, because these are ultra wide angle. So if you're with, and I'll get into that about the mounts, their options with this stuff is awesome. So when you buy a device, it comes with different mounts. It comes with a waterproof mount, and it comes with a standard case mount, and then it comes with adhesive, so you can stick them on walls or anything like that.
So it comes ready to go
It comes
underwater.
ready to go. Underwater, yeah. And I think that's really neat to offer a lot of people because most people are like, oh, well, let's just play with it. But also the options for more products you can buy. Like I bought a suction cup mount. And that allowed me to put it on a tripod or on a suction cup, and I can put that on a car window. I can put it on any type of window or any type of flat surface, and it's really cool. And then some of the cooler ones I've seen are like the monopod mounts. So I've seen people use those in the Army when they're trying to just do like journalists for footage out in the field. They don't want to stick their neck out. They literally have this camera on like the hockey puck on the end of a stick, and they stick it out, and they just kind of like, all right, we got the shot. And
Well, that gives me a lot of good ideas because I've got a shoot coming up that it's going to be about guns, high automatic weapons.
Oh, you can do some.
And if you had a GoPro on the end of a stick, instead of sticking your camera up there, since it doesn't have audio, right?
Nope.
Then you don't have to worry about blowing up
it does
your
have
audio.
That's probably the biggest downfall.
Okay.
To the camera.
But you can
is
turn the audio down.
Well, yeah, when you import it, you just take out the audio.
But I mean,
That's
it's not going to blow up the audio if you have it real close to the actual gun. If it's an automatic
Well, you can turn
weapon.
it off. You can turn off the microphone. But yeah, there's not a lot.
So you can get right there and really see the bullets coming out of the clip in real intense action.
No, you can put. I've seen people put this camera at the end of the barrel.
Oh, wow.
So you see them going
that's
down,
cool.
especially when they're training
Oh,
and things
yeah.
like that. That's what they use to let people know, hey, what are you pointing at? You need to point the barrel down, that kind of stuff. And I've seen people use it for that.
For training.
For training. I've seen people do it when they skydive. They make chest mounts, chest harnesses. They make, like I said, bike mounts. So they put it on the front of their bike so you have the tire. You should watch a video of some dude doing the advanced bike mountain biking because it looks like they're going so fast. They're going nuts, but then when you watch it, and when they're from the guy who's filming from the side, it looks like they're just going really slow. But if you're right there,
Right, all the vibration.
they have helmet ones, so most people who are snow skiing and things like that, they can wear them. Probably the coolest one though is the helicopter.
Oh,
They make
my
these drones.
friend.
Yeah, they make these drones.
Oh yes, let's talk drones.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at one on Amazon. It's called DJI Phantom Aerial UAV Drone Quadcopter.
Man, that's a mouthful.
So it is $479.
That's cheap.
That's cheap. So
Will it stay in the air?
Oh yeah, you can stay
How
in the air.
long?
Let's see. I'm looking at it right
15
now.
minutes.
No, it says a horizontal speed of 22 miles an hour.
That's flying.
That's flying. It's going somewhere. Keep talking about how cool this is because I'll find it. Let's see.
Well, I mean, the one I was looking at is $1,150, and it has what looks like a GoPro, but it will actually, the joystick on it will make it so that you can adjust it up and down, left and right.
Well, this has a transmitter range over 980 feet, and then it goes up to 15 minutes of flight time with included rechargeable batteries.
Well, hey, that's a great deal because the one that's for $1,100 is 950 feet. And it does fly for 20 to 25 minutes. But in the air for 15 minutes is a long time. And if you have another battery that's charged, you can just bring it down, plug in the battery, and there you go.
I mean,
you got 30 minutes.
It's a new level of spying on the neighbors.
Yeah. But I would use it for practical purposes, like doing real estate shots or a marina, or for a large party of people and get them from way up in the air.
What's cool is the attachment for it for the camera is the waterproof one. So if you do crash into the water, your camera's fine. But I imagine your DJI Phantom Aerial UAV drone copter for GoPro is glug. Yeah, it's gone. But it's small. I mean that's just so cool. Just think about that.
What does it weigh?
Let's see.
Ounces.
I'm gonna find it.
6 ounces.
And
4 0.5 ounce. That's my guess.
They don't really organize this very well.
They've got to have a weight.
Indoor flight's not recommended. I'm just going to say that out there.
Lacerations not included.
That's really funny. Shipping weight's 8.6 pounds.
That's a whole body.
That's the shipping weight.
But the camera itself.
Oh, the GoPro itself.
Yeah.
You're talking about the GoPro.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the helicopter.
No. The GoPro.
The GoPro. Let's see.
So it's probably negligible, so it doesn't drag down and throw it off balance.
Oh no, these cameras are, I think a hockey puck weighs more. I'll find. We'll find more about that coming out. We gotta go to a break. I'm just sitting here reading this thing.
Talking about toys here. We can't break away.
Can't break away. You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed on Lone Star Internet Radio. We have one more segment coming up. Make sure to call in 936-647-3776. Tell us about your crazy wedding stories, or if you have any GoPro stories, helicopter. I want to hear the UAV. UAV is such a cool word to tell people. Like, yeah, we need the UAV up in the air. It sounds so militarist.
Hey, Dick, GoPro.
GoPro.
Income tax time is here. If you earned less than $52,000 in 2013, Montgomery County United Way and Entergy, Texas want you to know how to get your taxes prepared absolutely free. Beginning February 1st, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, known as VITA, will provide professionally trained volunteers to prepare your return in a way that is safe, free, and confidential. And they will help you see if you qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit. That could mean up to $6,000 in your pocket and in our community. Montgomery County United Way improves lives of all our residents by mobilizing the caring power of our community. We want all our neighbors to have the opportunity to live healthy lifestyles, have access to education, and to improve your financial independence. This tax season, don't pay hundreds of dollars to have your taxes done. Locate a VITA site in Montgomery County by logging on to mcuw.org, or find a site near where you live or work by calling 211. And please remember, give, advocate, and volunteer. Together, that is how we improve lives and live united.
Our community's animal shelters cannot absorb accidental litters of kittens and puppies. Approximately 80% of the animals entering our shelters will not make it out alive. Please help be a part of the solution. Please spay and neuter your pets. Many low-cost options are available. Visit texaslittercontrol.org to learn more. That's texaslittercontrol.org. And remember, real Texans don't litter. Please spay and neuter your pets.
Spinning wheel, spinning all alone. I hear you talking about your troubles and you never learn.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed with Tom Moore, TR Moore Photos, and
Dick of Dick Schisler. Yeah, of OurLoneStar.com. Welcome back. This is our last segment. We're Aperture and Shutter Speed, Montgomery County's film and photography show.
that's us.
So share all your thoughts on our Facebook. Look up Aperture and Shutter Speed, and that's where we're going to post all of our archives and all of our upcoming things. Right now, our theme is weddings, so make sure to send your funny wedding photos, if you have any, and post them, and we'll put a little album together, and we'll give you a shout-out, and you know, maybe if we have a winner, we might do something for you. Yeah. That's if we have a winner.
Send you to the Bahamas or something.
Yeah, maybe we'll get you a UAV GoPro helicopter.
That's it.
But no, I still couldn't find the weight of these things. But you got to go on YouTube and look up the crazy videos people make, because especially the wipeouts. Yeah, those are the greatest. But yeah, we just got finished talking about GoPros and how crazy they are. I want to tell you real quick. So this black edition, it goes up to 120 frames a second.
Wow.
At a 720p.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, I don't know what else you want, but it can
for $400. You sure it's $400?
Yeah, it's $399.99.
Wow.
So, I mean, and it's all MOV format, which is even great. Yeah, these things are cool.
Is it compatible with Final Cut Pro?
Yeah, you just try. It's MOV.
Oh,
that's QuickTime.
Yeah.
Come on, man. No, I'm just kidding.
I got quick time.
Yeah, we'll talk. Actually, that's what we're going to be talking about is the next episode of Aperture and Shutter Speed. We got a lot of cool things. We're going to be wrapping up the February wedding talk, talking about all the past scenarios and which one was good. And also, I really want to reflect more on what Ansel's doing because he's the artist out of the photographers I've met. And he's going to put together a collection, I hope.
Yeah, he's willing to starve for his art, too.
Well, not just that, but I mean, we kind of talked about it on break.
He's not married, so he can do that.
Man, and I'm never getting married then. What's cool about, I was thinking of his situation and being in Montgomery County, and especially being in downtown Conroe, there's so many neat places like the Conroe Art League where you have opportunities to present your photography. And there's a lot of different things. I know over Market Street, probably a little harder to get into. We have the city of Montgomery probably has some really cool places. If anything, if you guys listening have any ideas of where you could share your photography, that's going to be cool, especially your films. Because if you make a short film, where could you go other than the Crichton Theater? Wouldn't that be neat to have your world premiere at the Crichton Theater?
Yeah.
I wonder what it would take to get in there. I mean, the Owen Theater is also across the street. That's a neat option. Or you can do even bigger and do the Woodlands Mitchell Pavilion, right?
I just think it'd take money.
Everything takes money.
Yeah.
And I should do my new. We should get that helicopter and see how many people I can get picking their nose. That's what I should do. I'm just telling you, that's how you make some money. There's probably some fetish website that's like into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
nose pickers.
But that's coming up next Wednesday on the 26th. We'll be covering up our scenarios, and then probably one of the most important topics about when you're shooting weddings is you shoot a lot of photos. And there's always a great option how to manage the importing of your photos, how to organize them, and especially the process of presenting it to the bridezilla after the fact, and the husband, if the husband really cares. I mean, I don't think the husband really cares. But
she likes it, it's fine.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about programs specifically, like Aperture,
Mm-hmm.
and then about I guess another one is Photo Elf is another one that imports photos that's kind of popular on the underground. And then there's that was a while back though. I think that was like
Market.
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago.
Wow.
And then there's Adobe Bridge that's been around for a while. And then I know some people actually use Photoshop to do it. You can do
labor.
You can do batch imports through Photoshop. There's just a lot of cool options, and it's always funny thing about photographers is they're picky about what programs they use, and they won't change forever.
Apple.
You see, I can even talk about me changing from Apple to Adobe, and I can give you good reasons why Apple sucks, but we will talk about that then. That's what we'll talk about that then. But no, it's interesting because a lot of people stick to older programs when it comes to importing. It's all about cataloging your stuff because it's really important. And you're always looking for the all-in-ones. You're always looking for the import. You're looking for the catalog, looking for the keyword, and then you're looking for backup.
Simplest.
Those are like the four main thing when it comes to cataloging your photo, or to me, because I always catalog my photos. Oh, nose picking, and then I make sure I have that. So when I type that in, I can find all my nose picking pictures. And
we're gonna have to. Are we leaving nose picking out next month?
No, I think that's gonna be for June for my birthday. That's gonna be the theme is nose picking. Are people eating food? Really inappropriate pictures of people doing something they don't want to be taking.
Okay,
pictures
people
of.
are turning off the radio as we speak.
Okay. Well, that's coming up next Wednesday. I think today's show is pretty good. The GoPros are interesting. Share your thoughts on our Facebook. Look up Aperture and Shutter Speed. Tom, is there anything you want to leave the listeners out with? Anything or?
Get your camera, get off your butt, and get out there.
Yeah, the weather's turning real nice.
And start shooting.
The sun's coming out most of the day.
Learn something. Get into macro, and shoot some bugs. Bugs are fun. Yeah, butterflies.
So make sure to send your wedding photos and post them.
Butterflies. Monarch.
Okay. What is it? It's so specific. What? Bringing that up.
Because I like Monarch.
I get you. But thank you for tuning in. Don't forget us every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on IrelandStar.com. Don't forget to call in 936-647-3776 and also visit our Facebook page, Aperture and Shutter Speed. This is Dick signing off.
GoPro.
And who else is signing off? And who's this guy in front of me?
Tom Moore, TR, more photos.
And we'll see ya next Wednesday.
Just let it shine.
Hey everyone, this is Tina, your host from Retro Saturdays. I wanted to invite you to visit the Lone Star Studios here in downtown Conroe, Texas. We're all volunteers here, and we need your help in serving the Montgomery County area. Radio media is a fun field to be in. Lone Star Internet Radio serves Montgomery County with news, current events, local programming, and of course, music. If you are interested in volunteering and sharing your talents in media, go to irlonestar.com and let us hear from you. Lone Star Internet Radio, serving Montgomery County from the heart of downtown Conroe.